Our agency has a mission of trying to help people be more self-sufficient, especially low-income people. And right now, um, we're moving into the decade of the 80s, in which we know that housing, food, and energy will be the things which will cause the most problems for our families who want to be self-sufficient or less dependent on welfare programs. First of all, those who have a fixed income. Um, if electric bills go up 50% next year, as proposed by HECO, we know that those on fixed income are never going to be able to get additional income to meet those costs. The second group of people that we're concerned about are the single-parent families with 4 or 5 children. And those people just cannot get by with the price of electricity today. And so as we anticipate the electric bills going up, the way in which we want to work at it is, number one, have some utility rate reform so that people who use more electricity pay more, and those who use less pay less. And that goes along with our whole thrust to help people be more responsible and be more self-sufficient and take care of themselves.
Hannah Hamamoto has lived in this house in Pololo Valley for many years. She is now a widow, living on a fixed income and paying about $90 every 2 months for gas and electricity.
That's kind of heavy on my load, gas and electricity now. Of course, water comes in.
Does that leave you enough to live on? How do you manage?
Oh, last month I didn't manage because my sewer line went out of link. I had to pay $400, and I had to pay it overnight, and I had the hardest time scrounging around for the $400.
You own your home or you rent your home?
I own my home. It is full of termites. The paints are coming off, but I should paint it up soon so the termites won't eat it. But
Do you still have to pay a mortgage on your home, or what do you pay for your home?
I almost bought it cash, because it was 3,500 before house and lot
When was that?
4 years ago. The property tax is very high.
Does that go up every year?
Yes. I used to pay $35 until just recently and went up to 200 something. I wonder if it's 300. I don't keep anything in my head, but it's that bad, and insurance was bad enough. Fire insurance, this is the only thing I own, and if I burn this, of course I burn the termites, but I won't have a place to stay, you know.
What kind of income do you have? I mean, do you live on a retirement or on Social Security, or what is it that you live on?
Social Security, and I'm with the HCAP for about 2 years, I think. But in the beginning, it was much, much cheaper.
So you're earning some money from HCAP?
Yeah,
So about how much is your income each
I
month?
think about 500.
How would you be able to manage from your fixed income? Your income stays the same pretty much every month.
If I don't lose it, I
But
survive. If I lose it, then it's shut off.
if you lose what?
The job. We are threatened quite often that the jobs will be.
Are they federally funded jobs? And if you have to live on just Social Security, can
That'd
you?
be a sad case.
You can't manage on just that.
No, because when I have to pay my taxes, property taxes and fire insurance, they usually fall on the same year, same Yeah, and they all come at once. And then what happens? Just 2 months ago, I had to buy a washing machine, and my icebox is refrigerator is trying to act up. But those are the things that I expect wear and tear. Yeah, and you have to meet it.
Well, what if they continue? They say they're going to have to raise the electric rates in December and again in January, and they're going to be a lot higher than now. What do you think you're going to have to give up in order to pay your higher bill?
Eating.
What, you think you're going to have to stop eating?
I have to just cut down on my menu, yeah, which is not advisable, but if we have to, that's the easiest way out.
Dr. Penelope Kanan and Dr. Michael Hennessy of the University of Hawaii recently analyzed the results of a home energy survey.
Per kilowatt hour, because of the past rate structure has charged the most for the least usage, that is, it's higher for the first block of kilowatt hours and gets cheaper if you use more. Low volume users pay the most per kilowatt hour, and low volume users are generally low income people. And as you can see here, the poverty elderly have paid the most per kilowatt hour of any group, and the upper income non-elderly have paid the least. We call that summary of utility costs. Some homes have only electricity, some have gas and electricity. Utility costs and rent or mortgage, we call those shelter costs. And then tried to see what was available for non-shelter costs, that is for everything else now. And we find that the poor, now this is, I don't have this by elderly, non-elderly, but the poor people have 15% of their income left over to do everything. That's food, medical, transportation, everything. And that 15% translates into, for the poor people, $43 per month.
Per person.
Per person.
For the rich, for example, over $1,000 per person left over per month after rent or mortgage and utility costs are subtracted out. So we're talking about a difference of $44 versus $1,000.
Ida and Isaac Fiesta live in Honolulu on the Big Island. Social Security is their only income.
My check is only $17. My husband one is $312.40, and mine's 40 cents. Well, with that, then I have food stamps by the welfare. It's only $62 they give me food stamps. Okay, you think that is enough for 1 month for me and my husband? It's not enough. So I have to use money to, cash to buy some more food for me. It's not enough. And more worse, I have to pay a house rent. It's $80, and I have to pay my water every month, $7. Okay, I have to pay my light bill. I cannot pay all my light bill at one time. I have to pay half this month and half the next month. That's what I do in my bills. Sometimes my food is not enough. I go to the store and I have to charge. Sometimes I pay $30-something more.
What kinds of electricity do you use here in your house?
Well, I use my lights and my stove and my heater. My heater, I use it only for half an hour and I turn it off.
Your hot water heater?
Hot water heater. And my stove is just cook. Only in the morning, if we cook rice, okay, we cook rice. Afternoon, we don't cook rice no more. Just only if we have food, we just heat it up, and that's it. And we go around 6 o'clock, we eat. We turn off the lights. We go into power. And if I have to watch TV, I just open the TV and no lights. And we take a shower early. We don't use lights. And then once a week, I wash clothes, me and my husband's clothes. Sometimes one washer or two washers. And that's it.
Do you have a clothes dryer?
No, I don't. I had a vacuum cleaner, I gave it away because I cannot. I have a toaster, I gave it to my grandchildren because I cannot use it. Because me and my husband wages is not enough.
So you've really tried to cut way
Oh
down
yes,
on
I
your...
try to cut way down my light bill. But the same thing, when my light bill came, $131. The oil now, the oil says oil. I paid $31 oil.
Okay, now, kilowatt hours, 1,154. And your bill for that month was $106. And this is a recent, oh, this is last year's bill.
Yeah, let's see it. I keep it all. And here's the other one.
127 for 2 months.
And this one is the late, I think. No, this one.
Okay.
See, every month I pay $50. Because I cannot pay all one time. See.
What other kinds of pressures would you and your husband feel if electric rates continue to go up, get higher? They say that, you know, next year it's going to be even higher than this year.
No, it's coming already because I heard I play radio once in a while to hear the news and most about the light bills because mine it says every time about the light bills. When it was before yesterday morning I heard this is that the light's coming up $2 or $3 more from this month coming up. Poor people, how are they going to live? Like us, we pension only from one. We don't receive no money from other places. How we going to live? And he is under doctor's care. He cannot eat anything. He had the gout and high blood pressure. So even I had to go to the eye doctor. And I'm not going because I have no money to pay. If I'm going to pay $7 every time I go to see the doctor, and then if I have to go to get my medicine, I have to pay again. We're taking from our month to pay. How can we live?
So right now your income is not enough to really pay for your needs. I mean, you
Yes,
need to get food stamps. You need a little bit of help from the welfare.
Yes.
So if your electric bill were increased, how would you be able to afford it?
I don't know.
What would you have to cut out, you think, to pay for it?
Don't use much. Don't use lights, I think, or don't eat. Just eat bread and butter or a cup of coffee. Just to pay my light bills.
There were some options on the questionnaire, like are you turning your lights down more frequently? Are you air drying your clothes more? Are you
putting in heat insulation, things like that?
insulating your water heater and your pipes? Are you changing to different kinds of appliances and those sorts of things? And there was a range of 8 activities they could have been doing. And the average in the state is 2.9 on a scale of 8. And the poor are doing like 2.8, and the rich are doing 3.1 of those activities. So I mean, they're all turning their lights down, and
of course, the people who can afford to take conservation measures, like the rich, like putting heat insulation around their water heaters, are doing that. But the poor can't afford to do that. I mean, we already know they have very little money left over, and they can't afford to take these relatively effective, but also relatively expensive ways to conserve.
Carol Shimamoto is a single parent whose income must support herself and her 3 children. She has a full-time job as well as an evening part-time job doing typing at home. Her energy needs reflect her family's size and her own work schedule.
The laundry every day and the dryer, that's really takes up a lot of electricity.
You have to use the dryer?
I have to use the dryer because Kahalu is so wet. And if I hang my laundry out, on good days I'll hang my laundry out. But if I hang my laundry out toward the evening, I have to bring it in and throw it in the dryer or it doesn't dry. And that takes a lot of, electricity.
So, do you have to do laundry every day? Why is it you have so much laundry?
Because I have, the children have a limited supply of clothes to wear. And if I don't do laundry every day, it piles up and I can't keep up on the weekends. So I do the laundry every day, and Leah's still in diapers, and that has to be done every day. The TV isn't on all that much, but the refrigerator uses up a lot of electricity too because the gaskets leak. And so, that affects the rate of
Have
the
you thought
electricity.
about repairing your gaskets?
Yeah, except that it doesn't really belong to us. So I hesitate to exchange, to have it repaired because I just don't have that kind of money. It's very expensive to repair gaskets.
So it's the landlord's?
Yeah, it's the landlord's refrigerator. And I'm afraid to tell him about it right now because I just had him repair all the burners in the electric stove. And I feel, the house is old. It does need to have a lot of repair work. And I'm afraid that if I ask for too much, he might feel that there's a need to raise the rent. And because of that, I try not to ask. I do most of my cooking at home simply because I can't afford to eat out. And no matter how busy I am, I have to plan my meals around my part-time job on the night that I know I'm going to be very busy. Very busy means typing 6 hours a night. On a night that I'm going to be very busy, I have to do something that is fast and simple. And often that means oven cooking because it's easy to throw a roast in the oven and forget about it while I'm at the typewriter. Consequently, when I run my oven, I know that takes a lot of electricity because I have actually gone out there and I don't know how to read the meter, but I see that thing spinning 280 and I know the oven is using up a lot of electricity. So, I don't know whether it's cheaper to just run to McDonald's or I seem to think no matter what, it's cheaper to eat at home.
Do you have an idea what your average electric bill is?
Oh yes, our average electric bill once every 2 months is about $110. And it used to be, just a little while ago, $80-something, and now it's $110, which is the average.
Of your monthly income, after you pay the rent and you pay the electricity, what kind of a bite does that take out of your monthly income?
On months that I don't have to pay for electricity, I can barely manage. I live from paycheck to paycheck. But on months that I don't have to pay the electricity, I can make do with what I earn. But on alternating months, when the electric bill is due, I have to withdraw from my savings. And that's why I need to work at my part-time job, because if I have no part-time job, I don't have savings. I can't save a penny from my regular income.
Frank Rainick grew up in the plantation village area of Waimanalo, where he still lives, now as a single parent of a large family.
My kids, I got 9, my grandson is 10, with me is 11. We wash every day. Not one day out of 365 days in a year that wash up. Never did stop. So we do a lot of washing, everyday cooking, especially when the kids are home for the summer on the vacations, and you have rice cookers. You got rice cookers going on, you got lights going off and on, bathroom lights, and all the electrical things that just keep on running.
Do you have a lot of appliances that use a lot of electricity other than, say, your refrigerator and your stove? Do you?
Yeah, I got a freezer, ice box, and whatever appliance I have in here. And then this year, as I said, I even got a freezer. Why the freezer is really a need here, because I always bought things by bulks. And I found out if I buy things by bulks, I would come out cheaper. You see, because everything is there, and every time when you go to a market and you start buying the food for today, no way you're not going to pick this ashtray and bring it home, because you're going to like this ashtray or whatever it is, whatever food shopping you're going to do. So this is where people keep on spending a lot and picking here and there. So if I pick up today, that's what we're going. If I pick up for the whole month, that's what we're going to get for the whole month. So even bread, I pick up the day-old bread. The day-old bread, yeah, sometime the month I pick up 30 loaves. 30 loaves, I throw them right in a freezer. This is the latest, the latest I got of 168. And 168, the bill really is 111.47. And when they came out with this fuel charge thing, and I don't see how, there's so many people in the whole state of Hawaii and whatever it is, they have to pay this fuel charge. This is really what is eating us up.
Are you able to just pay the bill right away, or how do you manage
I
it?
cannot do that. What I usually do, if the bill really comes up like this, what I do, I try take at least, I split them up into half, and almost end of the month time they send me another notice that I didn't pay the bill up. See, because as I said, why I take half off, because I have my land tax that I have to pay, and I have other things that I have to pay. So I feel like I try to give everybody a piece of the a piece of the bread, you know. I don't try give Hawaiian Electric everything and satisfy them. I try to satisfy everybody. So I've been working for PNP for this going on my 10th year right now, for PNP and Progressive Neighborhood. So I've been working there for almost 10 years now, and I have my steady income come in. But even with my steady income come in, with the mortgage that I have to pay, the light I have to pay, and the water, and whatever things I have to pay, obligations that I have, I can't make it. So this is why I have in some lump sum help from the, some help from the Department of Social Service.
Now, when your bills are, say, $180 or $160 a month, what after you pay your mortgage for your house and your electricity, what percentage of your income does that take up? Would that take a half, a third, or?
This would take with the electric, the mortgage, the mortgage, and water that I pay. This would almost take at least 3/3 of it. At least I say three. Almost the whole check, about almost all the check, at least everything. So how we live in here really is, we just, well, as I say, right here now, how we live in, I think we just living on blessing right now, the things that, we really got. So I go around, I scrounge a lot too.
Hawaii's 4 community action programs offer a low-cost solar panel installation service for low-income homeowners. This will cut electric costs by about 40%, but for that segment of the public that can't afford this kind of conservation, the community action programs are pushing for utility rate reform. George Lee.
Because what we're saying is electricity would be charged less if you use less, and you would pay more if you use more. And therefore we're hoping that the total effect of this will be that all consumers will then begin to conserve.
This is a meeting of SCALA, the Senior Citizens Advocates for Legal Assistance. With the help of the HCAP, they are trying to change the way that people are charged for electricity. Along with an increase in electric rates for 1981, Hawaiian Electric Company is proposing a new rate structure which would charge all users the same amount per kilowatt hour, regardless of how much electricity they use. SCALA has submitted a rate structure proposal to the Public Utilities Commission based on conservation.
The SCALA proposal here is to have a service charge per month of $3.08 plus 6.6 cents for the first 500 kilowatts. Then beyond 500 kilowatts, a 10.9-cent kilowatt-hour charge. Hawaiian Electric proposes that there be an $8.55 service charge per month plus 8.5 cents for every kilowatt consumed, 500 and over, or even your first kilowatt's going to be 8.5 cents. So if we compare the two, we see that a person under the SCALA proposal will pay something like $36 a month. A person under the Hawaiian Electric proposal will pay something like $51 or $52 a month. And that would be for the first 500 kilowatt hours. Hawaiian Electric, by proposing a flat rate, is not proposing a price mechanism to encourage people to conserve. Because if you only use 1 kilowatt a month, you're paying the same price as you are if you use 1,000 or 2,000 kilowatts. And I think that's a real problem, which they're going to have to answer to in terms of the new federal regulations, which ask for conservation in the rate structure. We also are concerned that Hawaiian Electric, which is investor-owned, gets its revenue. So we have said in the Scala proposal that after the first 500 kilowatt hours, this last block, which is called the tail block, should be charged at 10.9 cents kilowatt hour. And therefore, the large users, the large consumers would pay more, and thereby Hawaiian Electric would get its return on its investment.
Penelope Cannon's energy study analysis was incorporated in Scala's Lifeline proposal.
We're talking about the incentive to conserve and whether or not the rate structure provides that. And in the past, there has been the incentive not to conserve, and now the incentive to conserve is provided in the rate structure such that if you can get under, it's cheaper, okay? So, and the alternative to that, given that poor people are not going to be able to pay their energy bills, that's going to be, I mean, if they've got 15% of their income left over, I mean, we already know they're not going to be able to pay as prices rise. So it is definitely going to be a situation of increasing some kind of direct subsidy from tax dollars to the utility companies. And that, to me, bypasses the poor in terms of allowing them to any incentive to conserve or to participate in what's supposedly a national effort at conservation.
Yeah, when we began our concern for Lifeline, we thought we would limit the proposal only to senior citizens and the poor. But the longer we studied different Lifeline proposals, the more we realized that underlying most of the economic ills of our country is the energy crisis. And so we decided that the Scala proposal would be a conservation proposal. That if we get people to conserve on energy, we would really be helping the elderly and the poor and everybody else. And so our Scala proposal is a proposal which covers every household. It is not just for a separate class of people. And that no matter how rich you are or how poor you are, we're saying the first 500 kilowatt hours that you buy from Hawaiian Electric will be at the lowest price. And so we're unique in saying that Lifeline should be for everybody.